Hi, I'm UND President Andy Armacost, and I'm here with our AVP for Public Safety and our Chief of Police, Rodney Clark. Chief Clark, great to see you.
Thank you, sir. Good to be here.
Thanks for being here. We wanted to talk to you today about keeping the campus safe. And in fact, what we're addressing today is what to do in the case of active shooters. This is important to us as a campus because, as we've seen several incidents on campus in the last 6 months or so, lots of questions about how do we prepare for the potential of something really bad happening on the campus. And so today we're talking about a program called Run, Hide, Fight. And the reason we think this is important is we've received lots of comments from the campus community saying that you want more information about how to prepare for such an event. And so this is what today's discussion is about. And in addition, we're going to be starting new training for all members of the campus that we'll expect each of you to do. In fact, it'll be classified as mandatory training. And but this is because we feel that people are craving this information and it's important for you to get it. So the mnemonic Run, Hide, Fight really focuses on run when there's an active threat, and once you're safe, call 911. Hide. If escape is not possible, block the doors, lock the doors, avoid the windows, silence your phones. And then as a last resort, you fight. And this is what you do as a last resort when your life is in danger. Run, hide, fight. It's easy to remember. But the training will help you actually understand the importance of following each of these steps. So I want to thank Chief Clark for coming here, and I do have a few questions for you. You're not just standing here to accompany me. But Chief, UND is a safe campus, right? We pride ourselves on having active safety mechanisms and also an extraordinarily dedicated police force that looks out for all of us, and they're ready to respond 24/7. With that in mind, talk about the importance of all of us having to go through and think about this idea of run, hide, fight and what the training will mean so that people can respond.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I think the important thing with training is it reinforces muscle memory, or can give you an indication of what to do in a given situation. And although we do have a ready and responsive police force here on campus, getting together with your teammates and knowing the steps you can take for your own safety is also important. And
are there statistics that you know about that you can share with the viewers about the success or the effectiveness of Run, Hide, Fight?
Yes, sir. I think the most important statistic is in 50% of all active shooter situations, the shooting or the incident is generally over before law enforcement arrives on scene. So I think we all remember Columbine High School, which was kind of what put on the map active shooter situations across the country back in the 90s. Purdue University has actually done a validated study, like running the models off of this. And they know that not everybody's going to do the same thing in a scenario, so they did different combinations of different people running, hiding, and fighting. And even if you was to split it up, like 1/3 of each, they found that there's very survivable scenarios that's based off of that methodology. So I think in the future, you'll see more computer simulated scenarios going over these types of things.
Great, and I know that there are other such programs as well about how to respond. One is called ALICE, for example. Why did we focus on Run, Hide, Fight as our choice?
I think Run, Hide, Fight is because of its simplicity. You know, I always think about the rule of no more than threes. You know, some of us might remember duck and cover or stop, drop, and roll in the event of a fire. You know, Run, Hide, Fight gives that simple enough thing that most people can remember without becoming too overcomplicated with multiple steps and what to do in an emergency situation.
Now, in those emergency situations, there are probably things people should avoid doing. Can you give us any thoughts there?
Yeah, you should definitely. Law enforcement will be arriving on scene. It's important not to rush law enforcement for information or trying to grab onto anybody in those initial moments. Never go back for your things. You know, remember, you are the most important thing, not your belongings. And then also, if you can, try and avoid the freeze response. You know, it's always very natural for us as humans when we hear a loud noise or a violent incident to kind of freeze. But you want to kind of remember your training and take action, you know, instead of like freezing in that moment.
So say more about regular training, right? So we think that's an important part of our campus response.
Yeah, the regular training is kind of going through, remember, with your office mates or your teammates, remembering the video that you watched, which I think will be very helpful and much more better than the current video that we have. Training, like I said before, just reinforces that muscle memory. And it also increases your confidence. You know, the better you're trained on how to do something, the more times you've thought about it in your own mind, the more likely you are to react in a given situation.
And so what other resources are available on campus, and what can members of the campus community do to be better prepared for the unlikely but possible scenarios that we're talking about?
Yes, sir. The most important resource, well, I don't want to say the most important, but maybe one of the most valuable is the police department. You know, we can come, my officers can come to your section or your office and give you a tailor-made kind of look, a security look at what your situation is and how you might react in a situation like that. I think no matter what the plan is, it's important to remember to do something, right? There are all these steps, but just, do something and avoid that freeze response.
Great, thanks, Chief. Appreciate you being here today. And to the members of the campus community, that training will become available and assigned to you very soon. Again, this is mandatory training because we think that information is really important to keep each and every one of us safe in the possibility of one of these types of events from happening. So thanks everybody for listening, and we'll see you soon.